Hello, fellow traders. It's Nutty Bar, and today, this video, we're going to do a little bit something different that I haven't done before. And I've wanted to do this for a while, and I'm just finally taking the time to do it. And I want to do a video like this at the end of every quarter, is kind of my hope, where we can just kind of update this spreadsheet at the end of every quarter, and then we'll obviously do one for the end of the year. But basically, this is for the nerds out there. If you're a nerd, you're gonna enjoy this. If you're not, this might bore you. But this is going to just kind of do a deep dive into my prop firm, the payouts versus expenses, payouts per month, payouts per prop firm, and my return on investment with each prop firm. And we're just going to dive into it, look at the numbers, and I'm also going to share this spreadsheet. There will be a link in the comments down below. I will share this spreadsheet. Um, it's up to you, I guess. I mean, I'm going to make it so that you guys can download it and you can change it, put in your own data. Now, I will say, putting in your own data, you're going to have to mess with your formulas. And yeah, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to do that. It's not really automated or anything like that. I basically export my expenses from my credit cards, all that. That's where I get my expenses from, and then from my payouts I just manually put in. So it is kind of time consuming, and you do have to know a little bit about Excel, the formulas and the charts, that type of thing. So yeah, it's probably not for the novice user, but I'm sure most of you guys can figure it out. But let's just dive right in and look at the first thing we're going to look at is the payout summary per month. So this is just looking at my payouts. I'm categorizing the payouts when the payouts were approved, not when I requested. So if I requested at the end of April and I received approval in May, that goes in the May payout. So yeah, let's just look at it. So we actually started out the year very, very slowly, which makes sense. I probably had my worst trading of the year so far was in the beginning of January. Like the first 3 weeks of January were very difficult. February was a little bit better, and I started to gain some traction. And then, so yeah, January, we only had $3,926 in payouts. February, we had 9,000 in payouts. And then in March, all that work kind of paid off. March, we had a record amount of payouts, $48,934. Great, great March. April was also great. April, $30,870 for April. And then in May, 15,450. So it pretty happy. Again, May is just getting started. We're only 10 days in. So honestly, my goal, I'm trying not to make like specific goals per month. I don't want to really do that. I just want to focus on trading well, and the payouts will take care of themselves. And I'm trying not to really pay attention on when the payouts come in, because the March payouts here, obviously that was the most, but I traded really well in February, and then I kind of saw the fruits of that labor in March. So I'm not going to try to focus too much on per payout per month. Obviously per quarter is a little better way of telling how well you're trading. And I'm happy. I'm definitely not complaining. I think the total payouts we are at is around 108,000 for the year, and I am very happy with that. If we can, if we can do 300,000 plus in payouts this year, I will be ecstatic. So let's hope we can keep it going. Okay, now switching to the per prop firm payout. So this is now categorized in payouts per prop firm. As you can see, Apex, we have 41,000 in payouts. My funded futures, we have 1,200. I haven't really used my funded futures that much. I am starting to use them a little bit more again. I kind of want to get into it again and try out my funded futures. I just have right now I have 2 funded accounts with them, and hopefully we can start to ramp up with my funded futures. Take profit trader total is 10,754. Um, if you guys watch the channel, you know my issues I have with take profit trader. For some reason, I have a very difficult time trading with take profit trader. I don't think I'm profitable with them. We'll find out in a little bit, but this is definitely not where I want to see take profit trader at. It's probably the one prop firm that I'm the most disappointed in how I trade. I have blown up the most with take profit trader. I have just I've had the biggest struggles with getting consistent with take profit trader. I just cannot seem to maintain any sort of consistency level. So I don't know. We're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep trying. Tradeify total. I mean, honestly, Tradeify has been the best. I mean, I've traded the best with Tradeify. It's pretty clear, easy. It's pretty evident. Total payouts with Tradeify $51,300, and I mean, here's so one thing that kind of strikes me a little bit. The 2 prop firms where I get the most payouts from are the 2 prop firms that have consistency rules. The prop firm that I'm struggling with the most does not have a consistency rule, and as weird as that sounds, I do think that does play a role in it. Because I've had many times with Take Profit Trader where I get up a certain dollar amount, and then because there's no consistency rule, I want to keep going. And I just want to go for those really, really big days. And I end up taking a loss. Then you try to make your money back. You just all of a sudden you're just trading to get back to that high mark, and it just falls apart. Next thing you know, you've blown the account. So I really do. I mean, I think it's more just a personality and a personal preference, like how you trade and what your weakness is. But I think it's pretty telling that the 2 prop firms that I'm doing the best with have consistency rules. And you can say what you want. I mean, some people obviously think that the consistency rules are there, whatever, but it actually can help. Tradeify has a 20% consistency rule on their straight to funded. That's what I use. So that's a really, really tight consistency rule. And I really just trade till I get close to that consistency rule, and I am done for the day. Like I have zero desire to keep trading those accounts once I'm at that level. It's so easy for me to walk away from those days. I have no problem walking away, where with Take Profit Trader, somewhere where there's no consistency rules, there's just always that little voice and that little itch that, oh, I could take one more trade and just, make an extra $400. There's nothing to prevent you from doing that except your own will, and I just struggle with it. That's a big struggle. So, and Apex has a 30% consistency rule, and I don't know, I feel like that definitely helps me. Um, anyway, just my two cents. Now, going on to expenses. Now we're gonna look at my expenses. So, per prop firm expense summary. So this is what I have spent with each prop firm. Apex, $5,785. Also, there will be a spreadsheet that tracks all my expenses in the description down below, and also my payouts. You can see all my payouts, proof of my payouts, and I also have a spreadsheet in the description below that shows all my expenses for the year as well. I started tracking my expenses and sharing them kind of as an accountability for me. One of my goals last year to this year was to basically, yeah, I want to minimize my expenses. I want to increase my payouts, minimize my expenses, which means a more profit. So that's why I'm tracking it. That's why I'm sharing it. Keep me accountable. So Apex 5,785.30. Now here's the funny thing about these expenses with Apex. On Apex, of my $41,000 in payouts, 34,000 of that has come from 5 accounts that I have had since last July. So, and that's on 5 accounts. So, almost all of my payouts have come from 5 accounts all the way that I've had since last July. So, all of these expenses are literally me just trying to build up additional counts. And I've done a couple times where I've gotten, additional counts built up and I've taken maybe one payout and then I lose the funded account. So definitely doing a little bit of a cycle on those accounts. I'm trying to get it now where, you know, get the other accounts slow and steady and start taking slow and steady payouts on those accounts and minimize my expenses with Apex. So, but we are going to have expenses. Like that's just part of trading. We are going to have expenses, but what I want to make sure that I'm doing is just I want to make sure that I'm not going crazy. And again, I feel like if it's not being tracked, then you won't know, and it can get out of hand really quickly. My funded futures expenses 1,721.80. Um, again, I don't think I'm positive with my funded futures. Expenses aren't that crazy. I just bought and passed some evals, so that's why those are expenses are there. I had also earlier in the year in January, I had bought some of their more expensive accounts. I think it was like similar to straight to funded. I'm not even sure, but that's why those expenses are a little bit higher. But then my take profit trader total is 5,452. Um, I think I am profitable with take profit, but it doesn't feel like I am. Um, so, but again, those expenses are just way too high for the payouts and the effort that I feel like I'm putting in. Then we have Tick Tick Trader. This was basically they had a sale running. They had a sale running for straight to funded accounts. I bought 3 of them and I lost them. That's what that is. Top Step, 1,235 expenses, kind of similar. In the beginning of the year, I tried Top Step a couple times, and I might try it again. I don't know. We'll just see. Then we have Tradeify. Tradeify, pretty minimal expenses. The 3 accounts that I have 3 accounts that I've now been moved to live with. So I'm moving to live with Tradeify, which means my expenses are probably going to stay here. Um, and hopefully we can continue getting payouts. But I did went through a little bit of expenses trying to get 2 additional accounts. I had 2 additional accounts a couple times, and I just never was able to get them to a payout. That's why those expenses are the way they are. Now, moving to per month expense summary. So this is what I'm spending per month. So January, $4,800. Again, it was a pretty rough month in January. Definitely just, yeah, it wasn't great. February was 4,000, not bad. March was great. Just did not have a lot of expenses. I'd love to see the amounts stay this amount. April, my biggest expense month. A lot of that was Apex. There were some 90% sales. There were some 90% sales going in April that I took advantage of to try to build up my accounts. And then there was also Take Profit Trader. Take Profit Trader reared its ugly head in April, and I had quite a bit of expenses in April on that. And then in May, we're at $1,600 right now. And honestly, that's thanks to Take Profit Trader as well. I went on a little bit of a tilt session actually yesterday, and I reset 2 of my pro accounts, which is like $1,200 total. And Not that you care or should, whatever. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, I reset those and just promptly went and blew them. So that's what a tilt session will do to you. So try not to get tilted because going on tilt can get these expenses out of hand in a hurry. Okay, now we're going to look at the profit and loss summary and my return on investment. So if we look at the per prop firm return on investment. So with Apex, I've spent 5,785. We've received 41,000 in payouts for a 608% return on investment. Love to see it. I mean, that's great. My funded futures, we have spent 1,721 and we have 1,200 in payouts. So we have a negative return on investment with my funded futures. With Take Profit Trader, we have 5,452 in expenses and 10,000 in payouts for a return on investment of 97%. Not terrible, I guess. It just feels worse, I think, because recently I've been doing so much worse with Take Profit Trader. Tradeify has been the best. Yeah, like I said, this is using straight to funded accounts, 20% consistency, slow and steady wins the race, and only 2,900 expenses, 51,000 in payouts for a return on investment of 1,652%. So I will not complain about that. And then if we look at our profit and loss summary per month, in January, we spent $4,810, payouts of 3,926 for a negative return on ROI of negative 18%. February, it started to improve, $4,000 expense, 9,000 payout, 123% return. And then March, we had only 1,750 in expenses with 48,000 in payouts for a 2,695% return on investment. That is going to be hard to beat. That is going to be hard to beat. And then April, we have 5,924 expenses with a 30,000 in payouts, 421% return on investment. And May, I'm showing May, but obviously May is not over yet. We have 15,450 in payouts with 1,602 expenses for 863% return on investment. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm definitely happy with how my year has been going, even though I just got done recording a video where I blew and went on tilt yesterday. I blew 5 Apex accounts and I blew 5 Take Profit Trader accounts. Very frustrated with myself. Yeah, my goal is to make progress. My goal is to make progress. We're not going to, we're going to blow accounts with prop trading. Obviously that is going to happen, but I want to make sure that is not that I don't just gloss over the blowing of accounts. Even this is maybe a hot take. There's people that disagree with this, but this is my take on my opinion. And I'll stand by it. In the prop firm industry, I feel like there's two different camps. There's the camp of cycling accounts where the only goal is to get more payouts than expenses. That's the only thing they care about. And they don't focus on trading well. It's not about trading. It's not about learning how to trade. It's just about cycling enough accounts to accumulate payouts. More of a just high risk strategy. You kind of YOLO your accounts and then you YOLO your PA accounts. And if you do enough of that, eventually you'll get some payouts. But you will not really be learning a skill set, in my opinion. And this is just my hot take. But the other camp, we're still going to blow accounts. That's part of the learning experience and that's part of learning. But the primary objective should be to learn how to trade and to trade better. Um, and making sure that we're taking the steps necessary to improve our trading. And that, again, those are two camps. You can argue with whichever one is best. And I get the whole point that either one is money in the bank and that's the end result is all that matters. You are right. That is correct. The end result is money in the bank is the only thing that matters. But my thought has always been my objective is to learn how to trade. So if prop firms all of a sudden disappear, I want to have a skill set where I know I can feel confident in actually doing this with my own money. That is why I feel like it is important to actually learn how to trade because I mean I don't think prop firms are going anywhere. I mean I think they're here to stay, but I don't know. We never know. You never know in this industry what regulations might come in or what might happen. Who knows? But if you're an earner and a burner and prop firms go out of business, you're cooked. You are done. So that's my goal. And again, to each their own. I'm just stating my opinion. I know it's kind of a hot take and it's been a point of discussion recently among a lot of different people. And I've been kind of vocal about it in a couple of my live streams. But I really do feel like if you're not focusing on trading well and you're just earning and burning accounts, then are you really learning a skill set? The only skill set you're learning is how to take advantage of prop firms, and it really will not, is it really going to benefit? I know for me, if I cycle and earn and burn accounts, even if I'm getting payouts, I don't feel like I'm trading successfully. I really don't. And so that's why I want to try to make sure I track my expenses, I track my payouts, and I don't just gloss over and I don't want to just be okay with burning accounts all the time and just gloss it as, you know, not actually get learning opportunities from that. It's going to happen unfortunately. But I don't want to encourage it. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. And that concludes the video. Again, I'll drop the link for this spreadsheet in case someone wants to use it. And thanks again for watching. Appreciate everyone. Take care and God bless.